My name is Cindy Marchant, and I became a realtor in 2001. And around 2015, 2016, I decided to retire, and I now live in Florida. And I summer up here, usually in Indianapolis, from May until September. In 2015, I started to notice that real estate was very much interrupting my life. I would be on vacation and I would get a lot of calls. I would be in the movies and I'd get text. I would be home with my family in the evening and I'd have to work on purchase agreements or read through inspections. I just felt like it was becoming too much for me, that I was just morphing into this complete real estate person. And I just decided that it was time to do something different. And I wanted to take care of my database. So I spent basically a year, a good 8 months to a year with the other agent, and we co-branded. So we did listing appointments together. We talked with buyers together. We used signage that had both of our names. We did a lot of co-branding so that everybody knew who my partner was going to be, and I think that was critical. When you start to think about retiring, clearly picking the right person is the most important thing, and then figuring out how you're going to manage your business. But in addition to that, what is the structure of the commissions going forward? So the agent you're selling to, he or she isn't buying the database, but there's a commission split now that has to be considered. So what does that commission split look like? How long is that agreement for? Does that commission split scale or slide, or is it the same? With your database, how do you manage your client calls the person that buys your database, and then they do the transaction, and then that person refers their friend? Now, is that friend part of the referral agreement, or because it was referred during the transaction, does it belong to the buying agent that you're working with? There's all kinds of structural issues around the way that the referral works, how much it is, whether it slides, how long it's for. There's a lot of legality in transferring a business. At one point in like year 2 or 3, I found myself really wanting to not be involved at all. I found that I wanted to do what I wanted to do in this new life with more volunteering, more self-care, more things with the church. There are things that I started to want to do, and I wanted to be less and less involved with it. And so I think as I moved further away, the commissions did not happen as much, because again, I'm not doing it my way. We're doing it in a combined way. But I will say that even today, 8 years later, I definitely still get commissions. When you are working with your database and you decide, okay, this is the cutoff point, you may want to give yourself and the person who's working with your database now one do-over. I mean that when the database transitioned, wouldn't you know it, that a client called me that wanted to buy a $1.2 million house, and he only wanted to work with me in that case. And so at that point I had transitioned. And so it would have been nice to have said, I've got one more client I'm going to work with. Something else that could happen in your database, you could know the same person. And so in my database, I have a person, and in their database, they know that person, or they come to know that person. So whose client is it? So it'd be nice for them to have a do-over and say, I already know this person. So I think it's important to be a little more flexible than maybe I was. Retiring from real estate was one of the best decisions I ever made. I think that a job can become your life, and I think there's so much more to life than a job. And so I think it's important to be reflective at points in your life and decide, is this what I want to do? I think that people get to be 70 and 75 and suddenly they're not go-go. Suddenly now they're slow-go. And then eventually they become no-go. And so what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to sell real estate for all of it? Is your health worth that much money? I just think that I love my life now. And I do think that it was a good decision to retire.